Am I the asshole for telling my sister that our parents don't have to agree with her relationship? My 21F sister isn't accepted by my 29M parents for being gay. Throwaway account so my family can't link this back to me. For some context, my little sister is a lesbian. Our family does not support her decisions, but I don't give a FCK who she sleeps with. When she came out she was distanced from the family, but we started talking again after finding out our father is dying. After things in the family being rocky for a long time we decided to all get together at my parents' house. My dad said he wanted to put all of the drama and bickering aside, and if we have a problem with each other we can wait until he passes. Everyone agrees, including my sister, so I was expecting to have a nice family barbecue. My family wanted to meet my sister's girlfriend, and insisted that she brought her over. We were all excited to meet her. My sister's girlfriend seemed like a nice girl, but she was very standoffish. She kept to herself, and didn't speak much to my parents and me. For the most part she was glued to my sister. This caused some awkward silence. I started asking about their relationship. How did they meet? How long have they been together? And I even joked around about if she hurt my sister blah blah blah. My parents started acting stranger by each question. I asked my mom what was wrong, and her response was, "This isn't right." I could tell my sister and her girlfriend were uncomfortable, and my dad tried to calm my mom down. My sister, probably fed up with being treated like SHT for the last few years, spoke up and asked my parents what was the point of inviting them if she wasn't going to be okay with seeing them together. This caused my mother to explode with anger because she felt like my sister was being disrespectful. My mother goes on to say a lot of other things that I'm not going to say because I will be banned. Cold sweat smile. My sister started to cry and hyperventilate. Her girlfriend starts to comfort her and tries to get her to calm down, and this causes my mom to tell her that, if you're going to be dramatic and act like a child, you need to leave. You're upsetting your father. Before my sister could respond her girlfriend is grabbing their things and taking my sister to the car. I tried to rationalize this whole situation with my parents, they were no use. They thought she was putting on a show in front of her girlfriend to make them look bad. They proceeded to say that they're allowed to be uncomfortable, and feel differently than her. I explained to them that this is who she loves. No one has to agree with it, but we should still love her. I've tried talking to my sister about the whole situation, and apparently I defend our parents too much. I told her that our parents don't have to agree with her relationship, but they should. She told me that I'm being an asshole for expecting her to pretend it's be someone else just because our dad is dying. Am I the asshole? Stop trying to walk some higher middle ground. Your parents suck, support your sister. You are the asshole. You are the asshole. I mean, I had a fairly hard time trying to figure out what you did or didn't do, but your parents are homophobic bigots. Sorry about your dad, but that doesn't excuse his bigotry. You are the asshole for two reasons. 1. Your family had agreed to meet up under the rules that they would set aside the drama, but your mom broke those rules, insulting your sister, making a scene and placing the blame on them. Your mom is the asshole in this situation. 2. How can you defend them? Sure, they're from a different generation that doesn't understand how sexuality can work, but that doesn't mean they shouldn't try to understand. You should not be defending them in any way since they are the aggressors here. You are the asshole and your comments are not making you look any better. You are the asshole, and I won't even bother explaining all the reasons why because no matter what I say or how I say it, you won't change or care. You will simply keep defending yourself in the comments. No matter how many people tell you that you are in fact an asshole. Am I the asshole for laughing when my roommate's boyfriend asked me to use less alarms in the morning? My roommate 22F moved in with me 23F about 2 months ago. She been great with exception her boyfriend stays the night at our apartment the majority of the week about 5-6 nights. After the first month I spoke with her about how I'm uncomfortable with her boyfriend staying the night all the time. And he can still come over regularly but if the sleeping over could be reduced to 2-3 nights a week I would really appreciate it. She essentially shut me down over it and said that she doesn't see the issue since the majority of the time he stays in her room so I dropped it. Now onto the new issue. I'm an extremely heavy sleeper and I set multiple alarms in the morning so I can wake up on time. I told my roommate about this early on and she had no problem with it since she too is a heavy sleeper. Apparently her boyfriend is not. A couple days ago he approached me in the morning. He woke up to my alarm and told me to set less alarms because I wake him up hours before he has to be at work. I was still half asleep, so I laughed and told him that he has his own apartment to sleep at if it bothers him that much. Also that I'll only take his request into consideration once he starts paying a third of rent and utilities. He was not happy with that but is now staying more often at his apartment, so I'm not upset at the result. But my roommate is not happy with me because her boyfriend spends less time with her. I was telling my friends about the situation and they told me that I should have been more considerate about my noise level that early and I was rude for how I handled the situation. Not the asshole. If he wants to make rules and requests he needs to pay up. You're doing what you need in order to get to work. He and your roommate can stay at his place, although I'm sure there's some ridiculous reason why they can't. Not the asshole. If he actually lived there, of course you'd take his complaints into consideration. But he was crashing there every single night without paying rent or utilities, and you were absolutely right to call him out on it. Not the asshole. As you said, he gets an opinion when he starts paying rent. Also, what's stopping your roommate from sleeping over at his apartment if she wants to see him more? Not the asshole. He doesn't pay rent. And he has his own apartment. Not the asshole. In addition to what other people are saying about rents, if they find your alarm so difficult and she feels she can't spend as much time with him, why can't your roommate stay at his apartment most nights of the week? Am I the asshole for buying a PS5 for my daughter when my ex asked me not to? My ex and I have a 14-year daughter together. She also has 2 more kids who are 16M and 11F. We have 50-50 custody. Here is the problem. My daughter loves gaming. She has been begging her mom and I to buy her a PS5. I bought one for her a few weeks ago but I didn't give it to her right away. I decided to wait until after an important and difficult exam that she had and give it to her as a prize for getting an A+ in that exam, which I knew she would. A few days ago my ex called me and asked me not to buy a PS5 for my daughter as apparently she has been gloating to her siblings and making them jealous because their parents are financially struggling and they can't have as many privileges as my daughter. My ex gave me a long lecture about how she doesn't deserve another privilege because of her behavior. I told her I will consider it but I didn't promise anything. Well, she got her exam results a couple of days ago and not only she got an A+, she was the only A+ in her grade. I was extremely proud and decided that she deserves getting her new PS5 and gave it to her. Yesterday I took her to her mom's home and a few minutes after I left my ex called screaming at me asking me why I did it when she specifically asked me not to do it. She thinks I'm a huge asshole for doing this but I think as her dad, I should be able to decide what my daughter does, or does not, deserve and my ex doesn't have the right to tell me what to do. I would like to know what kind of gloating. Is this I am super excited I'm getting a PS5 or is this the I got a PS5 and you don't? Is it also at her mom's house so she can share? Not the asshole. PS5 needs to stay at your house. Your ex can call the shots in her own home. Not the asshole. Your ex's situation is not your or your daughter's to manage. You might want to have a chat with her about gloating over her half-siblings though. That's toxic behavior that should be nipped in the bud. Info. Did you talk to her about her bratty behavior or do you not care? I think there is healthy middle ground here. You could have bought her the PS5 and had a conversation with her about how you being able to reward her with expensive items doesn't make her achievements any more valid than her half-siblings. That way if she continued being a brat you could have taken the PS5 away for a few weeks as punishment. I get that you want to treat your daughter but it does sound like you are raising a bit of a bully and that's not cool. Info. What does gloating and making her siblings jealous mean? Was she actively bragging about it and rubbing it in their faces? Or did she say she was excited she would be getting one sometime soon and the others, or the ex, decided it wasn't fair? Does your daughter often act in a way that makes this believable or does your ex favor her? A lot of people are jumping right to the 14-yo being an asshole here, but we've all seen or known people who get punished by their parents for accomplishing something their siblings couldn't, or getting something they didn't. Am I the asshole for telling my girlfriend she should not drive in high heels? My 28M girlfriend, let's call her Emma, 26F, likes wearing high heels ever since I have known her. She is self-conscious about her height but it is not really a big deal when we are together as I am short. She is 5 feet 2 and I am 5 feet 6. The issue however is when we go out together she normally drives as it is her car and she drives in her heels. I repeatedly tell her she should switch to flats and not drive in them as it is dangerous but she refuses and says she knows how to drive in them and is used to it and claims in some cases it is easier as you can pivot between pedals easier. I think she is not being honest, as I can't possibly see how it would be easier. Last week she got into a small accident and rear-ended someone. I was not there, but a car changed lanes in front of her and she rear-ended it. I bought her some sneakers and told her to use them as driving shoes and left them in her car, and she called me an asshole and said her accident had nothing to do with her shoes and that I should drop it. Am I the asshole here? I just want her to be safe. Edit. Thanks for all the responses. I can't respond to them all. But I feel I pushed the issue too much and apologized to her. The responses seem mixed, but I have spoken to her more about it, and I guess it is something really subjective, and depends on the design of the car, pedals, the specific shoe, as not all heels are equal, driver's height, practice in them, etc. In her case, she says in her car, as long as she has good quality floor mats, she has no issues, and she prefers the seat position she uses when she drives in heels, and the only shoes she has trouble with are flip-flops or any shoe with slippery soles, which is fair, as I have trouble in some slippery dress shoes as well. The laws of most places seem to not call it out specifically. Some have laws that vaguely say proper footwear, and I saw some court cases where heels were blamed or flip-flops, but that is only when it could be proved they were a clear cause of the accident. Edit 2. Also, we just heard back that she is not at fault from the insurance. You are the asshole. Women drive in high heels all the time and it really isn't an issue. I feel like you wouldn't have mentioned your height unless that had something to do with why the heels really bother you. Some people can run in heels. Wearing heels can actually be more comfortable than being barefoot if you are used to it. Why don't you believe what she says? Have you ever worn heels and driven? It's like you're mansplaining that she cannot possibly drive well because she's wearing heels. And yes, I've driven my car with high heels on. It sounds like an accident and you are just linking it to her heels because that's how you see it. It's not impossible to drive with them on. Maybe you should try it for yourself instead of just wanting her to be safe. Do you also make girls call you when they get home because you want to know they made it safe? That's gross. She's a fucking adult. I think if she told you it's fine, you should drop it. You are the asshole. She's an adult and can make her own decisions. You made your suggestion, she said no, so you can either let it go or break up with her. Don't keep bugging her about it. Info. Has something about her driving in high heels come off unsafe to you? Like a near accident you experienced while with her? Or are you simply objecting to the entire act of driving with HH on? Not the asshole. A simple Google search would show you that it's way more dangerous to drive with high heels than it is with flat shoes because your heel is more elevated, making it harder to hit the pedals right, especially in a fast-paced situation like an accident. The first thing my driving teacher, my dad and my mom told me is to never wear high heels while driving. Yes, she's an adult. Yes, she can make her own decisions. Yes, you can get used to new shoes while driving. But you can't ignore the fact that some shoes are more dangerous to drive with than others. It's also unhealthy for your foot, so there's that.